Hi everybody, welcome to another RimWorld playthrough. We're going to do not this, we're not going to do a grav ship this time. This time I'm going to try to join the Empire and do the royalty stuff, 'cause I've never really done anything with royalty, you know? The old royalty expansion. I've never done anything with this. Not much anyway, I've done a little bit, privately, myself, but I've never done a stream. I tried to, and then I think it was when Anomaly released, or maybe just when Biotech released. I can't remember if it was Biotech or Anomaly. When one of these two released, I was starting a playthrough of this, and it broke my save with all my mods. And even when the mods were updated, the save file was screwed in some way. Like, it was something I couldn't fix, and I was like, you know what, screw it. That playthrough hasn't seen the light of day. Neither has my original just colony escape the planet original playthrough either. I don't think I ever will put it up on my YouTube or anything like that now because it's just so dated. And it's like, well, we can always do it again. Not like it didn't take me 4 months of streaming the game to get off the planet, but I was not rushing either. Anyway, we are going to do an Empire run. I'm going to go over the mods real quick, although they don't really change much. I do have my favorite mods. There are a few that I rediscovered, like Graze Up, to stop your animals from like just eating all the plants. We haven't really had this one in a previous playthroughs because we did the grav ship stuff. Don't really have grazing animals with the grav ship. It doesn't really work. Storage framework is pretty cool as well, and a whole bunch of... This is a vanilla expanded heavy playthrough. So I've got the chem fuel. I also have the gas expansion. I like colony groups because it's good to group up all, especially when you get a huge colony. So good to group your colonists into, you know, little specializations. Like, these are my security people. These are my, you know, oh, not security, I guess military. These are my farmers. These are my builders, you know, things like that. Have fridges, must have fridges, love fridges. The grav ship storage has been so cool, even though we may not get a grav ship. This is probably how I'm going to be storing a lot of my shit. I cannot go back to putting everything in a big stockpile on the floor in a massive warehouse. It just never looked good to me. It was very untidy. I mean, this is untidy as well, but it puts everything in a menu for me to find easy. So I always like this one. Apparel taints only when a corpse rots. Very good. It's so weird. It's like, just put it in the dishwasher. Jesus. Put it in the laundry. You know, clothing washer. You know, those things where you wash clothes? Put it in one of those. Get the blood off it. You know, it's fine. Hey, Yuri with a 5-stream streach. Streach? I cannot speak this morning, guys. What is in this coffee? Coffee, apparently. Huh. I probably just need more of it. 5-stream streak. Thank you, Yuri. How are you doing? We're just going over the mods, and then we're going to get into the game. We're going to get... Luigi has already redeemed a place in the colony, so we'll be naming somebody straight after him. I like the double door mod. I think they look aesthetically nice. I've got larger map sizes because I would like very much to have a big map. This adds the ability to create a custom map size. I don't think I'm going to be going with that, but it does add another preset large map. Geological landforms is great. This adds some really cool looking map styles. Biome transitions speaks for itself. You know, you can have a mix of biomes on tiles where different biomes join each other. The camera plus is lovely, where you can zoom out and everything becomes little dots and they're colored and you know what's going on. Craftable drugs. We were having trouble getting our hands on things like nutreamine and stuff like that, so we're probably going to be able to make our own now. I still haven't actually used this mod, so I don't know how good it is. Curbstones are good. We're going to be building lots of roads between the buildings in our colony. I'm going to do vehicles. I swear to God, I'm going to do vehicles one day and actually use the freaking things, not get to the point where I just started making them and lose my colony. We are going to be playing to destruction, though, as I always do. If we die, we die. So, Cybernetic Storm, I put in. We were going to play with this with the Borg mod. We started, and then we failed the Borg run. I'm going to leave it in. I don't know if I'm going to use all of it, but I'm going to leave it in because I do like some of the stuff that comes with it. That is not necessarily just about limb replacements and stuff. like, it adds in the ability to make your own plasteel, which if they just had a mod for that, just take the cybernetics out and just give me that advanced material construction stuff, I'd probably go with it as well. But it has a few things in I don't like, so I probably will not use them. There is a free power source where you just build nanite power factories. And it's like, okay. I used them in my original run, and then I decided it's probably a bit cheaty. Iron Man, that is the way. Yeah, well, you know, I do have the vanilla expanded pirate mod put in here as well. They have basically mech suits, war caskets, but it's more like being a dreadnought in Warhammer 40k than it is being Iron Man, because they can't take those suits off, so... Ancient junk can be dismantled. Drop all inventory is nice for caravans. Rim Atomics is going to be what I'm going to go with our power systems, okay? This is going to be the power supply stuff. Eventually, we'll have, like, atomic power. And this looks really good. I don't know how it works. I haven't played with it, so we're going to have to figure it out. I may need to open the workshop page and look at the how-to part. Prepare carefully, I don't know if we're going to do. I left it in. Force raid direction, I don't know if this is working. We had it installed on previous games, but I added it mid-game, so I don't know if it doesn't work if you do that. It should do, but the raids come from the direction of wherever the freaking colony is, so that's good. Vehicle framework, I can make vehicles. Halter stack is nice. You just basically, they don't just put lots of shit down in random places, but I'm not going to be using a lot of ground storage, so we may not even need this going forward. Heat map, you've seen me use this before, where I can color code the map areas, the indoor areas, to see what's not. Bugs lib is just for other mods. Diagonal wall styles, pretty interesting. A bunch of vanilla expanded furniture stuff, just gives me nice decorations and things. Lead destruction makes destroyed walls crumble and start to break apart, and they look different than the default. Lights out, people always ask about this one. Turns lights off when colonists leave the room. Saves power. It's great. Loft beds we've had before in previous playthroughs, they're very useful. Map preview is nice for when you're picking a place. Miniaturization just means a bunch of things can be put in a crate and thrown into storage that usually can't. Things like power generators and stuff. More trade ships. I don't know if this is working. It doesn't feel like more trade ships are showing up. I've used this mod forever, and fewer and fewer trade ships seem to actually show up. So, I don't know. We'll see. Vanilla fence expanded and putting them in a tab, so just more fence styles, because I find the default fence is kind of not great looking. Love no power lines. It cleans up those little wriggly cables that come from the main conduits to a powered item. I think it makes the place look untidy. Different floors I've used before. Permeable terrain. Basically, blood washes away over time, as long as it's on dirt and other types of ground where it can be washed away. So you don't need to send people to clean up all the blood. Pick up and haul means that they just grab a whole bunch of shit and haul it until their inventory is full. Real ruins always makes the maps look great with extra ruins. I can repair broken items with this mod. This stops the grav ship from destroying any surface it lands on and when it takes off again. If you use normal terrain textures, use the standard concrete, it rips it apart. This doesn't, so haven't used it yet, but we'll see. Rim hood just changes the hood. You've seen me use it before. It's all the extra information down there in the bottom left. Fuses, I love fuses. They're great. They stop power surges. Run and gun, always nice. People being able to run and shoot with a aim penalty. Seamless embrasures, I haven't used this in forever, but I put it in since we're going to be making a static base. Snap out. People basically, you know, if they have a mental break, somebody comes up to them and tries to calm them down. Please stop setting fire to all our shit. That's not great. You know, that kind of thing. Don't go and slaughter all the chickens in the coop. That's not great. That sort of thing. And then they go to their room and think about what they've done for a while. So, Stack XL just makes stacks larger in storage. Staggered raids, this looked good. Instead of getting like a 50-man raid that lags the shit out of your computer, what we'll do instead is we'll get a handful of people at a time, and then more, and they come in waves, basically. I think it's probably better that way. It might seem a little bit like I'm easy moding it, but at the same time, it's a performance thing more than anything. Sun lamp power is reduced because it chews up so much power. I don't know though if I might want to not bother with that. We'll see. Instead of 2,900 watts, 500 watts. I think 500 is still pretty big. Revised trade UI because the default one is god awful. Extra vehicle expanded stuff. Trains. We can build railways between colonies. I really want to try this at some point because I haven't played with it yet. I don't know how it works. Armor expansion, got different armor types. Vanilla base generation expanded. This has been not updated for a long time, but it basically means that NPC bases designed to templates instead of just being a random cobbled together bunch of buildings that make no sense. Brewing. Come on, I've got to have beer and vodka and other such alcohol and gin, you know. More events. I've got the Empire faction expansion. This is the main thing. This adds a whole hierarchy to the Empire. It adds the need for different types of rooms for your, like, royals, and the need for the royals to have underlings who are also part of the noble track, hierarchy, but not higher than them. You know what I mean? They're like, I'm a duke. I need to have a few people that are also nobles. So it makes me have to expand the noble hierarchy within the colony. Deserters are the people who are fighting the Empire. They're going to send assassins after us. That's going to make things interesting. Insectoids is great. I love the fact that it adds a whole bunch of new insectoids and that they have like a spreading colony area. It gives us something to go fight and clean up. Maybe we'll make a job of that one day of saying the nearest like insectoid hive needs to be destroyed. Secure the area. Laser weapons. They were pretty nice. Pirates, I mentioned those guys. They drop like war caskets on you and stuff that are like dreadnoughts from 40k. More vanilla expanded furniture, medical stuff, power, farming, props, production modules, spacer furniture. Elixion gas is another potential power source early game. And, you know, useful for heating. So we'll see. And a bunch of ideology enhancements. Mostly just symbols, memes, and structures. Schisms. Sidecast expanded. This is great. This adds a whole level up tree to sidecasts and the ability to unlock specific powers in certain orders and specialize in certain things. It's really cool. New social expansions. Temperature expanded gives us air conditioning, basically, that I'll be aiming for because I love it. Trading expanded is good. I can do trade orders. I can like sell batches of goods at once to people, and you can use a bank and you can trade shares and stuff. I haven't really dove into it too much, but it can be useful. Good ways to make money. More vehicle types, upgrading vehicles, some additional weapon types as well, including grenades, warehouse shelving, wall-mounted orbital trade beacon. I haven't used this yet, but it looks nice and compact instead of that friggin' thing that sits on the ground. Vehicles that are wrecked around the planet can be deconstructed for components. Inti, I see you, hello! Grabs the power conduit. We will need it anyway. Yes! Always. How's it going, Inti? How are you feeling? Are you feeling any better now? Weapon expanded tribal? I mean, sure, why not? Because the tribal guys will get different cool weapons. I'll leave that in. Non-lethal could be useful for dealing with, like, people who are having freakouts. I can tase them. And that's it, guys. That's all the mods. Whew. Thank you for sticking through that explanation. More might get added, and I'll mention them through the playthrough if I can and bring up a link and show you all. But yeah, that's what we're running with. Right, so we're going to want a new colony. I am going to go with a standard classic crash land. We're not going to edit the scenario. We're just going to go with the 3 survivors to start. And as always, I could use the storyteller. I don't really... The thing about the storytellers is, other than Randy Random just being a piece of shit, BB Chillac's basically sending nothing more threatening at you than a mad rabbit. And not the one from Monty Python. And Cassandra basically just escalating the difficulty. All these other custom ones, I don't quite get what they do. Like, the description doesn't translate into shit for me that I kind of understand. You know what I mean? Where it's like, yo, we'll create a story of increasing tension. Tension? What do you mean tension? What does that mean? Maybe we'll go with it and we'll see what's different. And I am going to start with adventure. I always do that. I'm not a sadist, you know. Reload anytime mode I like because of bugs, and I'm modding heavily. But we are, as I said, going to play to destruction. I'm going to leave the anomaly stuff as well. We haven't really touched it yet, but we may play around with it. But I'm going to leave it set to standard settings. So it will exist, but it won't start until we trigger it, until we trigger the monolith. We may want to get into Eldritch shit. You're at 97% better, turns out recovering can take long. Who knew? Yeah. It's... yeah. When you're really sick, it's surprising how it knocks the shit out of you. The seed is kindly. Why not? I want a kindly game. I am going to increase landmarks, however. I do like that. And we're going to make the tile size really big, because this is going to be a long-run colony. Hopefully. Hopefully. Infested areas will keep. Everything else I'm going to keep. I think I'm going to just keep the standard layout as well of factions. Yeah, why not? Let's just leave the factions as they are as well. All 3 pirate types, including mercenaries that we could hire. And all the tribes, and all the outlanders, and all the other standard bandit factions. Okay, this is part of one of the mods. So this will load maps of other players who have had their colonies on this exact same seed planet. And they will be abandoned ruins. I love it. There's only 18? What? Alright. Well, it's added them in there somewhere. Not many people have played on a kindly planet. Can you believe it? Right, we need to pick a place. Scribble's initials into conduit so I can find it in the pile of rubbish. It's a good way to do things. Alright. Where do we want to be? And this is the thing. All year-round growing is wonderful, right? We all love it. But it does mean that you're basically kind of scorching all the time. It's hard to stay cool. People get very hot, but you don't have to deal with winters. I do like dealing with winter. It's gotta be said. Let me turn on the marks as well. Like this kind of latitude here, we're dealing with year-round growing still. Average 23.4 degrees, 16 to 31. That's not terrible. But if we went further north, we could make this the great empire of Canada, of New Canada. Oh, let's do that, actually. Let's go with a cooler, not year-round. Man, I am way further south than I thought still. Well, we have forests. Those are part of that. What is this? We got deserts all the way up here? 30 out of 60 days. Jesus! Like, I am so far north. I don't expect that. Then we've got these, like, boreal forests. I really don't like them because they have this marshy shit going on all the time, and it really reduces your ability to build. Temperate forests. And I want to be kind of in a mountainous area. We've got boreal forest. What is this? That's temperate swamp. Desert. How about a place by the sea? It's good. It's not a bad idea. Problem with a place by the sea, I find, is that you do tend to reduce your building area. You know? Like, if we look at the preview up here, this preview map, move this into the middle so you guys can see what we're playing with. And can I increase the size of this? I can, yeah. Preview size needs to be a bit bigger. There we go. Move it over here so you guys can see. I I can only really build around here, which really limits you. Like, you've not got a lot of farmland. So, I don't know. Place by the sea gives you other problems. It's great as well because you can kind of like know where your enemies are coming from. You're like, oh, that whole area, I don't need to defend over there. Nobody can approach from that direction where the water is. But you can only really build your defenses really close to the edge of the map as well, and it's really hard to actually do about that. How about an island? Yeah, I mean, somewhere in here, but then you can't go anywhere. Like, you can't send your people... put this up here, actually. You can't send your people on trade missions because you can't cross this water. That's the other problem. So it's actually better to have a... We're going to be building an empire, so it's better to be on a road. Well, and I kind of like being in a canyon, not this type. Where are the other canyons? There are certain types of land formations that I know work really well. Yeah, like this. Being in something like that is good because, again, you can only really be attacked mostly from two sides. We tried to use one of these for our Borg playthrough. But, yeah. You're grabbing a hot pot casserole. Ooh, that sounds delicious. I'll take some. We could do Glacial Plain. Very Canada. Yeah. Oh, picking a place in this game is always the long-term, you know, the long-term problem. Plus, I notice there's very few Empire presences up north, whereas there are more down south over here. Does it really matter, though? Being close? You can vassalize people with the Empire Expanded stuff. You can actually vassalize other Empire locations, but only if they're close enough, I think. I'm not sure. Look at this road. Shit, that's a road, all right. That's a straight-ass road is what that is. Look at that. One swirly terraforming scar right in the middle of all this. That's pretty cool. We do want some rocks and some mountain formations. Man, okay, let's look down south. Maybe, oh god, maybe we go down south. Because there's not a lot of that going on up there. That's a swamp with ruins. We don't necessarily want that. And we do want marble. Marble is important. Marble is good. Marble helps us a lot. Because marble can be used to make sculptures, can be used to make really nice buildings. That kind of stuff. But I also want granite. Search for it. Oh, that's just terrain types. Man. And we got, I do want 30 out of 60 days grow period. That would be nice. We've got a road nearby. Slate and limestone, sandstone, granite, granite, sandstone, sandstone, limestone, marble, limestone, sandstone. That's a good one. I like that. Large hills. We're going to have to tear a lot of this down, but it does make for some natural defense formations. There's some shallow water hereabouts. Bit of rich soil here and there, but not a lot of it. But that's not a bad location. Sandstone, marble, granite. That's pretty good. I kind of like the way the map looks. Remember that one. Sandstone, limestone, marble. I would love granite, marble, and limestone. They're the three that I would really like to get, if we can. Slate, granite, limestone, marble, marble, granite, sandstone, sandstone, limestone. Sandstone, granite, limestone. All right, I guess we'll settle for sandstone. We're probably going to go with this map. I do like the way this looks. That I can carve around and into and through, and I'll just leave this big rock in the middle and build all around it, and all through here, and take some of this out, you know. So, wish this globe had a place to search, aka mark everything with at least 70% landmass. That would be nice. There's probably mods that let you do that. I haven't found them if there are, but I've never looked. But, like, yeah, having a kind of a search for nearby, like just filter out locations. Say, right, I want these materials. Like I want sandstone, I want limestone, I want marble, I want granite. All on one map. Find me every tile with that. Exclude, you know, mountainous areas. Exclude these biome types. And I want it to be, you know, this kind of growing season. And show me, and it's like 0 results found, so you know you've got to be less picky and start working your way back through your search. You know, that would be good. If anybody knows of a mod like that, by the way, you know, feel free to let me know. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can put something in the comments and link me to any mods that might do that. That would be very helpful. That speeds this whole process up. I would also like a mod that lets me mark a location myself and say, save this. And maybe it puts a little window up here that it's like saved locations as like potential sites. And then I can go look for something else without them coming back going, where was it again? You know. So, I mean, you can make a note down here of this location, like the coordinates. Of course, trying to find that again without actually having a coordinate reference on the screen is kind of difficult. I can't just say go to this location and type it in, but still. All right, so we have a tribe nearby. We have some outlanders up there as well, and a road is great because it means once we caravan up, we can just like beeline to the road and then and in the future, I could make trains. We have another Outlander Union up there. We got some pirates. We got some more tribes. I think these are a bad tribe, though. And we've got an empire nearby. Empire faction. So that's not bad. Yeah. But roads do help you get around quickly. There are mods that let you build your own roads, but we have a railway mod. I'm going to build a railway instead. All right, we're going to go with this. I'm not going to search any further. Ideology. This is going to be its own VOD on YouTube, by the way, guys. So the actual playthrough will probably be episode number 2. I think I have an ideology. Let me create, but then let me load from one. Yeah, that's the only one I have saved on this. I had a whole bunch of ideologies saved, but that was on my old PC. I've only really played a tiny bit of RimWorld since I reinstalled my PC, and that was just to test a couple of things. I have this one. Oh, missing mods, who cares? They don't affect... Yeah, oh yeah, tunnelers, right? No. Okay. Let's start a whole new one. Let's just make our own. In fact, what are the presets? Yeah, I don't know. Let's create our own. What? Oh, the Sophian Commune is the Empire. They're loyalist collectivists. It would help if we're kind of lining up with them. Let's see, I mean, we can choose to be them. But they like slavery. They think it's honorable. It's not necessarily required, but it means they accept it. And they prohibit drug use. We could try to do one of two things here. Because it's all right to just try to be part of the Empire, but we need a long-term goal of changing the Empire. We want to overthrow the Emperor, and we will be the ones who dictate what the new doctrine is for the Empire. I don't know if that's a thing we can do, but in my mind, I will make it happen. Do we want to... Do we want to legalize it in the Empire? Is that what we're going with? Do some drug use and get rid of slavery? I think these are the two things we need to not have, you know? So let's create a custom one. Is that right, what we're doing? Yep, create custom. Do we want to be specifically religious? I don't think so. Secular, maybe? Putting one's faith in rituals, prayer, and power beyond only delays one's personal growth. Enlightenment, happiness, and purpose can be found from within. That just gives you a style, though, doesn't it? We could just be straight up ideological. No gods, no moral structure. Who are... Hang on, let me just check that again. Sophians are... They're archists. We should probably be archists as well, then. Okay. Because they believe that the ones who came before were the true closest to God and yada yada yada. They know the moral structure of the universe. That's fine by me. We'll go with that. What are we going to do? Emancipation. People should never be enslaved and all slaves should be freed. Requires either slavery forbidden or slave trading can only be done through buying. You cannot actively enslave people. Which I don't like either, by the way. I don't like that. Oh, it's fine if you buy them, because it's like, no, because somebody else somewhere is enslaving people to do that. Yeah, I'm sorry, but they just are. You can't have it both ways. You know. Requires a slave emancipation ritual. I kind of like that. Let's go. Let's just tick it off for now. We can always untick it before we confirm things. I normally do this off stream, by the way. I normally do this off stream because I think it just gets us straight into the game. But this time I've decided to actually do a religion build, an ideology build in front of you guys. So this is going to take a while. There's a lot of thought goes into this. It does change how we play things. But I love ideology. It's been my favorite still of all the expansions. I mean, okay, the grav ship is amazing as well. And what bit I've played of Anomaly is fantastic too. But this just lets you do so much cool stuff. Like, this just reskins your whole playthrough, you know? So, we can be emancipators, we are gonna be... Well, this is the thing. High life requires drug use. It means your people want to be high all the time. We did that with the pirates. It wasn't really a great idea. A bunch of stoned pirates in charge of a grav ship fighting people. It didn't end well. Requires the smoke leaf circle. It's one thing to legalize it. It's another thing to literally force it down people's throats. We only want it to be a choice, maybe. What if we went with party life instead? Alcohol desired instead of demanded. Because drug use removes all alcohol as well. Like nothing is... No mind and body-altering chemical substances must be used, you know. We could just go with like, hey, we're partiers and we want to get rid of slaves. You know, we don't want slavery. Slavery is not a good thing and we can just like live it up. But if we're going to lean into, you know, New Canada as well, we want free healthcare. No, healthcare, yeah. Could we go? Could just be, you know, like not even New Canada, just New Alberta, and we could be ranchers. Cattle country. What? Yeah, psychic focus isn't bad either. It means whoever is the person with the highest psycast level becomes the leader of the ideology. There is that. And we are going to be doing Empire stuff, which means leader of an ideology will be the highest psycaster, and we will be getting psycasts. It means I cannot appoint a leader, which is kind of problematic as well. You kind of need a leader. So if it takes us a while to get a psycast, we're going to be having problems. So maybe we won't go with that. And I've played it with this before. Kind of interesting. Yeah. This is great from the Anomaly. Inhuman. It means you want to mutate yourself with like aberrations from the void. You know, like you can make serums basically to ghoulify people and do other shit with them. And yeah, they want that apparently. So, but I think we're just going to go with those two simple things. I mean, maybe industrialism. That might not be. Mining yield and woodcutting yield, farming yield is high. They accept apostasy. They exalt dumb labor. Skilled labor is either slow or relaxed. In other words, anything like crafting is slower. I don't quite like that, though. I don't like that. Crafting is the other way. Basically... Oh, wait a minute. That still all wants skilled labor, slow or relaxed. I don't know. But the leader has to be the best crafter. There was another one. Oh, was it progressive? Automation efficiency increased. If you use electronic crafting tables, efficiency is increased. They go faster, they use less ingredients, possibly, or if possible, anyway. I do kind of like that. Just because. But we're not getting any special roles. This is a thing, I like roles as well. Other than having a party host, a leader of the religion, and a high priest, we won't have anything else. There is royalty, titles become inherited, permit cooldowns are lowered, permit costs are halved, leader is the highest title. Again, means we need to have at least a royalty title for somebody to be the leader. This makes some sense, though. The Kingdom of New Canada. Have a cool thing to share. I found out how cool a library card for 10 euros a year is. I signed up for one and suddenly hundreds of knowledge resources, which are usually used pay to view, said, oh, you have a library ID? Here, have our data for your leisure, and I could log in for books, newspapers, and so much more, even IT-related professional literature. That sounds incredibly useful. And it highlights how public services like that are so invaluable to people. It really does. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so it's all like you actually have an online database that you can access with your library ID, is what I'm saying. That's really cool. Instead of needing to physically go to the library as well, to actually get a physical book. Sounds like a cool deal. Yeah, 10 euros a year as well is nothing. Less than €1 a month, you know, like, that's nothing. I don't know, are we going to go with this? Royalty? It unlocks the Major Domo role. I don't know what that does. I'm going to try this. I actually run a royalty ideology. Okay, let's do that. Let's go. Oh, God. Apparently we're the dinner group. We love the party life. Let's see. What are we going to do? What are we going to call this? The Party Kingdom. The Party Kingdom. What do we call the adjective? Archaeotechnica Partia, I guess. Partia. And it would be the same again. But with a capital P. Or Reveler. Without a capital. Okay. Reveler. We're revelers, guys. We revel. Or we could be the freedom of Party Kingdom. Freedom of Party Kingdom? Or Freedom and Party? Freedom of Party. We'll stick with that. The ritual room is gonna be what? What are we gonna call, like, the main ritual room? Pub. It's the pub. The genie's lamp, it doesn't really fit with what we've made, though. Genie's lamp's fun, but doesn't fit with what we've made. Well, the first pick was a full-color issue of National Geographic. Very good magazine. I would love to have a subscription to that, but it's too expensive for us. But Then again, I should probably look at our local library, see if that's something they have, because I could always go get it then. Might be worth looking at. But you mention it, I forget we have a library here in town that needs support, so... The barrel of knowledge. Well, I mean, again, it's got to be something related to the fact that we are partiers, we are emancipators, but we're also royalty. So we're a kingdom, but... oh, you know what it could be? The... King's Pub? Or... the Crown Pub might be better. Because then it just covers all occasions. Male, female, king, emperor, whatever, you know. I don't think the leader of this thing is... I think there is actually a title called the king in the royalty in this game. So King's Pub just kind of doesn't work. But crown, every royal wears a crown. So there we go. The Crown Pub. The Royal Slurp. Oh, that sounds gross. Ew. The Royal Slurp. What? That's gross sounding. Royal Slurp. I can't get that out of my head now. How dare you put such a thing in my brain? I didn't consent to that. What? Oh my god. We need an icon. Royal Slurp indeed. My god. Ah. That's funny. I love it. Oh, dear me. Okay. We need an icon that says, you know, we're royalty, but we also party down. You know what I mean? I mean, some of these icons are just kind of, you know, whatever. So they're just like, hey, do you want something that looks very futuristic and spacey and that kind of thing? Yeah, cool. Okay, that works. But, you know... For this particular thing, I'm not seeing anything that works for us. I was looking for like a martini glass. Or a beer mug or something, but we don't have one of those either. Just have this big finger. It's the National Lottery finger from the old adverts in the UK. It could be you. Oh my god. I don't know if they still use that in the National Lottery adverts now, or if they even advertise the National Lottery in the UK. If they can even do that anymore. That looks pretty cool. Just as a cool shape. I think that's meant to be emblematic of the Thrumbo creature. What is that? That's kind of a planty looking thing, isn't it? I don't know about that. Now we need something that speaks to partying. What speaks to partying in here? Oh man. This is an important decision, guys, okay? This is what it gave us originally, is just this knife and fork. Like, no, this looks like a service station ahead rest stop sign that you would see on the side of a highway. You know, like, next exit, food, you know. That's a pretty cool design. As far as that goes, that looks pretty interesting. Like, we've got food-related shit here. We've got this, like, weird hamburger-looking thing and a stew pot and so on. And I don't know what this is meant to be, like a popcorn bucket? I don't know. Then we're on to chess pieces and stuff like that, and playing card suites and COVID and you know. I kind of like this. It doesn't speak to what we do, but just as a design, it looks pretty nice. I think we'll go with that then. There's nothing else there. There's nothing else there. The stone with the radial beams next to the lightning. Stone with radial beams next to the lightning? That would have been further down here, right? Where are we? We're here. Next to the lightning. Stone with radial. I've probably gone past it. where was the lightning? You don't mean this one with the lightning bolt? Under the heart. Okay. Where were the hearts again? Trying to find these things. Oh, you mean that one? No, that's not a heart. That's the heart. Oh, you mean this? That's the explosive material. You want us to go with that? Boom. Yeah. I mean, we could. We could. Seeing as you asked for it, I will do it. I will do that. Because that's what a good streamer does. He listens to his audience. I would normally as well write in some kind of little thing about all this, but yeah, no. We're not going to do it. Can't change that. Only buying? I don't want to do that at all. Like, I want to... Slavery is forbidden, and yet slave trading is only buying. It should be forbidden as well. Leader is the highest title is fine. Recreation is loved, because that's party time. Alcohol is desired, not demanded. I don't want it demanded, because I don't want my colony to be full of drunks. But I would like them, at the very least, to be able to have alcohol and be like, hey, I feel better for that, you know. So give them a boost. Party, we have boom boxes. Yes. The boom box. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what that is. Okay, so permit cooldowns are lowered. There's a thing in this game with the royalty expansion, or at least with the vanilla faction expanded, is you can get permits. As you go up in like rank, you get more permits from the Empire. Permits can be used to buy things. You can summon resources, troops, that kind of stuff. Even a shuttle. I used it once, and it abandoned me in the colony that I went to go trade in. I was like, wait, I only get to go one direction with it? That's useless. So, how about I get back? You know? So, that was a bit of a problem. But anyway, permit cooldown is lowered, so I can reuse the permits, because you have to wait a while before you can use it again. You can't just keep using it over and over again. Permit costs are halved, means I basically get double the privilege of, like, when I get one permit, I'll get 2 permits instead, basically. So, the honor of having a privilege of calling upon their allies more frequently, their request for aid is met with a nod and a half cost, easing the burden of leadership. Yeah, so I think that's what it's going to be. I don't think we need to change much of anything else other than the fact that I don't think it's really good that peep men can go topless. Call me a prude. I think, you know, pants and shirt minimum is just the thing to go with. You know, like, in other words, it means that if guys don't have shirts, they feel a little bit, like, unhappy. Like, I'm not fully clothed, you know. So, no organ harvest. Come on. It's acceptable. It can save a life. Cannibalism is abhorrent. Blindness. Corpses are ugly. I would really like to turn that off, but, you know, whatever. We need, like, pain is a virtue or some other kind of angry precepts. Not precepts, that's what these are. Angry memes in order to turn that into don't care. And then people don't go, oh, I saw a dead body. Means we gotta get rid of corpses quickly. Fungus is despised, whatever, don't care. Diversity of thought is neutral. I guess. It kind of works with us, who we are. Insect meat is despised, because it's gross. Physical love spouse only. Well, anybody can shag if they want. Just get busy. Not that prudish. This isn't ye oldie times. Disgusting nutrient paste, because it is. Research and will not change that. Scarification, skull spikes, yep. Death is normal. Nobody gets super bummed out about it, other than the fact that they just lost friends. Dumb labor they're indifferent about. Illness they don't care about. You can make it so that people are like, you know, they want to be ill. Holy shit. All right. Anti-vaccine colony. You can also have it be that illness is frowned upon, I think. Maybe. Insect jelly they don't care about. Insect jelly is smooth, rich, and nourishing. Yummy. In other words, they don't care if they eat insect jelly or not, which is fine because even if you set that to like they don't like it, people are going to still stuff their faces with it and then go, ew. And it's like, there's a whole freezer full of fucking food over there, dude, and you ate insect meat. What's wrong with you? They don't do what's best for them, so I don't care if it. I'm just going to leave that as it is. Normal moods are fine. Yeah, you can like give yourself a high or low spirit mood boost and say, I don't like my guys being super bummed out, but I leave it as it is because it makes for fun. Royalty is respected. Every crown and every title is a symbol of burdens shouldered for the good of all. Regardless of rank, a title earns a uniform respect and acknowledgement of the wearer's elevated place in our order. In other words, if somebody is a royal, they get a plus 25 mood boost. It could be exalted. It could be even better. But I'm going to leave it as it is because that's cheaty otherwise. They don't want to wear apparel that people have rotted within, you know. That's fine. Tattered, yep, we don't want tattered apparel, but I have a repair bench for that now, which is good. That's a nice quality of life feature that I'm still surprised doesn't exist in the base game. Titles become inherited. Nobility flows through the blood. I don't have biotech, so there's no birthing of children, so that I don't quite understand how that works in vanilla about that. Violence is fine. Physical of free organ harvest, yep. Women's spouse only one, men's spouse only one. I think we'll just leave it at that. I tried to set up a colony once that was like, you can have as many wives and husbands as you want. Everybody can marry everybody else. And it was like, it never really came up. So I was like, okay, never mind then. You don't have to. It's not forced. And all of the vehicle stuff is going to stay standard. Marriage, keeping names. Yeah, we're going to go with that. We have the leader is going to be called the Great Archist. I want to get rid of freaking clothing requirements because it's just such a pain in the balls. The Major Domo... I'll get rid of that as well. What is I don't know what this guy does. I haven't really done this. A management specialist. Major Domo is the steward of nobility and overseer of the estates. They wield the authority to organize, manage, and ensure the seamless operation of every aspect of aristocratic life. They are unable to hold titles themselves. Interesting. They possess an ability to inspire everyone around them to go the extra mile at the cost of greatly lowering their recreation. Okay, so they hold the whip. Gains recreation from any work. So the Major Domo loves working. They're just like, bro, I'm in. I'm happy. This role becomes active when the faction has 3 revelers. It becomes inactive when you only have 1. Okay, then. The work command ability requirements must be a reveler. That makes sense. Global work speed is increased by 30% and sleep fall rate is multiplied by 75%. So people just exhaust themselves if we use that work command on. They will not hunt, but that's all it is. And then the party host, the exciting genius. Oof. Also have to remod my entire Cyberpunk 2077 because Nexus Mod Manager falsely removed a 23 gig game file? Oh. Oh no. That sucks. I think we're just going to keep these names apart from this guy here. Oh my god, look at the... Didn't mean to do that. Party host. The hilarious animal. The hat he had was the horse head. That's just silly. I love it. Let me regenerate. Comedic entertainer, esteemed comedian, exciting host. Some of these names. Party animal. I like that. Let's go with that. I want to remove the head wrap. There we go. We have to do funerals. Sky Lantern Festival. The Kingly Advent. Let's see. That's going to be... Let's not do it in the middle of fucking winter, yeah? Let's just put it at like, I don't know, the 10th of August. Recharge Psy-Focus? No. Random Recruit, please. Random Recruit is always good. This is how we get people in our colony. Slave Emancipation. So if we find slaves, we can free them, which is great. That works for us. Whatever comes up, we'll definitely do it. We will have a dance party. We will have a social festival. All right. We will not, however, have these be on a date. They will just be on a cooldown. And again, a random recruit, traveling party, and edit anytime random recruit, the Revel Affair. So we've got 3 opportunities, well, 1 every year here to get a recruit, and 2 more that will be every, I can't remember what the cooldown is, 40 days or something. 20 days, 40 days, whatever it is. We can then redo these. So we get several opportunities a year, basically, to get random recruits from our ideology to join us. So that's cool. Thankfully, I could save my 160 hours save. You've played it for 160 hours now? Nice. It's a good game. It's easy to rack 160 hours up in that game. I think my stream playthrough of that game was about the same, 160 odd hours, something like that, 150. But I think because I didn't stream it for that long, I played a bunch of it off stream, where I would just go and do like random stuff, fighting people that I find NPC, NCPD callouts, things like that, and just cleared all those mini objectives, those little like fighting objectives and looting places. I didn't want to do all that on stream because that felt kind of just like a slog, but doing all the story stuff on stream I did. But it did make the the playthrough last that long, roughly. I need to get that out on my YouTube at some point. All right, ritual seats, pews, I enjoy that, that's good. I am going to remove the ideograms. I kind of like medium altars because they don't take a lot of space. It's just a 1x3 line. The royal form building, and that could be that, yeah. We have the arch scroll. We have the mask of nobility. I like those. And I always like to get an arc. It won't be made out of plasteel. It'll be made out of gold, of course. Golden arc. I do not like weapon type things in my ideology, so I'm just going to remove that. We do not venerate certain animals, because I hate that. It just means I can't kill them for food. But weapon pairing, for people that don't know what this is. So you can have it that long shot weapons are noble and short shot weapons are despised. In other words, people with pistols, they don't like using them. People with rifles, they love using them. You can swap it over as well. You can have it that melee piercing weapons are noble and blunt weapons are despised. That's actually not bad. Having that isn't too game breaking. Most of the time I'll just be using swords, knives, axes, that kind of stuff, and they're not blunt. I don't like using clubs anyway, but I don't like being hamstrung by that, so we're going to remove that. All right, we're done. The ideology is done. Boom. Oh god, now we've got to pick our colonists. Ugh. Whew. We're nearly there, guys, and we'll finally get in. We're only like, what, an hour in the game? We haven't actually played it yet. Welcome to RimWorld, everybody. All right, what have we got here? We've got Jilly McDonald. Don't really like the fact that they can't shoot. We've got Venka Venteggio. Good shooting, good cooking, good social. No intellectual, has a scar on their ear that aches. Oh, that must drive you nuts. Ooh. Incapable of... Oh, no, they're a nudist? Oh, why? That and Pyromaniac. And then we got Ingrid Dalton. Has a gunshot wound on the left leg. Shoots animals. Social. That's okay. You know what? We'll have you. Who have we got waiting in the wings, though? Who we could pick? Oh my goodness. They have a novel in their possession. Good crafting skill. Good cooking skill. I think we'll have you. We have Nixon, the Space Marine with good shooting. And intellectual as well. They could be our researcher. An entirely lady-heavy colony, right? Wow. Hey, I don't care. We'll get more people in eventually. So let's see. Do we have good skill coverage? We have someone who's good at shooting here, but also good at animal tending and social stuff. We've got someone who can craft and cook over here. And we've got more shooting and intellectual. We do not have anybody good at plants, though. Could I swap someone else out? Taxonomist. Okay, we've got cooking, plants, and animals here. Should we swap out Ingrid, maybe? Put Ingrid down there. Yeah. Because they can't shoot. But having all this is very good. Got a geologist here. Mining would be very nice, actually. We don't have anybody who can do mining either. And we also don't really have anybody good at medical. Oh, no. Well, actually, no. Okay, Lizzie's good at medical, just not got an enthusiasm for it, but yeah. But mining is also, well, maybe not. The Space Marine can mine. But the Space Marine can also do our research. That's the main. Mining, cooking, crafting. This is starting with 3 people is rough. If I were to put Lloyd in here, who would I swap them out with? Just to get that amazing mining skill. It would have to be Love. They're also pretty good at crafting, so okay, we're gonna move them there. Boom. Right. I feel like we've got a decent skill layout. Got someone who's good at shooting to defend us early and could do the hunting. We have someone who can cook and do plants and animals. That's not a bad division of labor. And then we've got a guy with a bit of jade in his pocket, actually, who's going to be leaving a wife and daughter behind. Oh, wait, no, the daughter's coming. Right, yeah. Wait, what? No, daughter, that's wife. Daughter, I was like, wait a minute. Husband? Yeah, I misread that. We have, they're going to be leaving their daughter behind, or we take the daughter as well, and we keep this family together, which means getting rid of Lizzie, which is like removing cooking, plants, and animals. Well, plants are here. Cooking is here. Not much in the way of animal care, though. Oh my goodness. Well, okay, no, a little bit. All right. Let's keep the family. I don't want to break up a family. Come on. There we go. Look at this. So we have Lloyd's wife, Nixon, and their child, Chibi Fuji. How about that? Okay, we got a nice little family here. The family get into the escape pod together. Yeah, and everyone else, they can just fuck off, base. Nobody cares. Right, okay, let's go.